There are three ways to think about how to There are three ways to think about how to quit social media. The first, let's talk about awareness, because this will go through the other two. First, you're aware of what you're doing. Next time you're on social media, before you write anything, your post, when you write your post, make sure to think about what you're doing, like literally what you're doing. Why am I writing this? Why am I arguing with this person? Why do I post this photo? Is there a purpose to it? Or am I just posting for posting's sake, which is useless? Or do I have a purpose here? Or am I just wasting my time? Like, question yourself, question your own behavior. This is where reason has its place. This is where reason has its true place. Where you question yourself and you question your preconceived ideas, your worldview. You get to the core of who you are by questioning yourself. This is another approach to get to who you are at the core. Similar to, well, in a different way, to scaling back by removing things. But this way, we start questioning things instead. Alright? That's one of the best ways. But you need to be self-aware here. You need to be increasingly self-aware. Work on your awareness. I'll suggest working on active awareness here. Your meditation can help you here. Meditation can certainly help you here. Any sort of meditation. But I'll suggest active meditation because you don't have to do breathing exercises. You don't have to do these things. You can just, this is what I do. I focus on radiator noise, for example, and then I focus on what I'm focusing on, literally, with my eyes, and then I also focus on other sounds, cars or whatever it is, or people, or someone singing or something, and that's how I get into my awareness. So you can do that like every morning or before you start anything, and you'll increasingly see that you're catching yourself doing these useless things on social media. Alright? So that's the first thing you can do before quitting social media, or as you quit social media. Alright? The other way would be to see social media as in the lens of a career, right? So, for example, if you love writing politics so much, why don't you start writing essays, true essays, or why don't you start writing for some online magazine? Or even better, by owning yourself, why don't you start your own magazine, start your own blog, start your own or YouTube channel where you discuss politics, because it seems like you love politics. That's why you're on Twitter and writing about politics, or that's why you're arguing on Facebook about politics. Everyone is deep down into politics nowadays, and I don't think that's a good thing. Now, obviously, we need to scrutinize our leaders, of course. Of course, we need to do that. I mean, of course, that's not what I'm questioning here. I'm questioning our own behavior. The individual has to work on himself or herself, right? So, see it as a career, like, or you can see, for example, if you're on Instagram, do this instead. Start photography. Start taking charge. start charging for your pictures, and you might make some money from that. You can do wedding photography and stuff like that. There are a billion career choices. So turn your social media into a career instead of just wasting time on it. At least you're doing something, you're creating something. You'll be much more creative. You'll learn something about yourself while in the process, and learn something new. So you'll combine all these things I've previously mentioned. All right, so career. And if it's not photography, I mean, because, you know, on Snapchat and stuff like that, like Snapchat is perhaps the worst, because there is no way you have any use for that. There is just no way. No way you have any use for that. You can't learn anything by taking narcissistic pictures. A billion narcissistic pictures. You're getting good at that, but nothing else. You can't learn about how to take proper professional pictures. While if you're working on professional photography, you'll start to learn how to frame a picture. You learn whatever the client wants, what people usually want. You'll see trends, you'll see things, you'll learn things, you'll learn how to take great pictures. And then you can create your own art as well. All right, you don't have to sacrifice everything. Now, you can also think of it this way, all right, in a socializing way. So when you're on social media, you see, social media, instead of media, just scrap the media and just being social. Now, for example, instead of doing Instagram, go to some Instagram, not Instagram, go to some photography event where some photographer, for example, showcases their photography, or something else completely, like maybe it's about cars, or it's about fashion, or something completely different. Go to some social event, or create a social event. Even a social gathering. I mean, even with friends and so forth. I mean, why waste time on social media? I mean, you're not using, it's not the same thing. Real life and on the internet is not the same thing. You need cues, you need gestures, you need facial expressions, you need all these things, you need touch, you need all these things. Otherwise you'll get weird, you'll get crazy, you'll get weird, you'll get strange. You'll feel it, you'll feel strange when you start talking to other people, especially the more you use it. So this is a huge problem too. Okay, huge problem. All right, so where am I going today? Let's head to the waters. All right, so focus on yourself instead. So use social media, utilize it for something instead of just turn it into something, or delete it, or turn it into something. If you don't want to delete it completely, if you don't want to rid yourself of it completely in life, I would. Now, I went back and forth on Twitter, for example. So I've had several accounts, you know, before you can drop. It's like an addiction. It's truly like an addiction. You go back to drink in, and then you remove it again. Then you let's take one more beer. You know, not that I've been addicted to alcohol ever, but just an analogy. It's the same thing. All right. So it's the same thing. So you gotta work on this. This will be your exercise. The most important exercise would be the awareness one, the awareness way, because this will teach you instincts as well, not just for this, but for other things. That's how I always see in the world. It can be annoying sometimes, but usually I get this hyper aware of like sounds and people and smells and cold and temperature and moist, all the senses. But you're pretty close to yourself that way. You're pretty close to yourself that way. And by removing social media, you'll certainly get closer to yourself and utilize it. You'll meet people, even in, I mean, all these three, in some sense, can be combined. You'll be socializing while you're, in some sense, or, well, you'll have human interaction, you know? It's crazy that you have to even say it, but you'll have human interaction when you work on photography, let's say, and you ask them what they want and you photograph them and so forth. Or even video filming, like their wedding and so forth. It'll be fun. I mean, speaking of dopamine and stuff like that, dopamine fast, I mean, that's dopamine if nothing. Like, if something, that's dopamine. Like, you love people, you love working with them. Well, you'll see frustrating things as well, of course you will. Of course you will see frustration. You'll be frustrated, you'll have challenges, but you'll love those challenges, love the struggle, because you have joy in the struggle, because you love taking those pictures. Otherwise, why the hell would you be on social media all the time, posting on Instagram or taking a billion narcissistic Snapchat photos, right? Or writing. Why are you writing or arguing on Twitter all the time, or Facebook actually, because people do that as well. They don't just use it for being jealous on their friends and family, you know. It's also, so yeah, you'll have struggle as well, but love the struggle, you know, join the process. Like Nietzsche says, amor fati. You love your fate. Love your fate. But you create your fate. Let's not be fatalistic either. But yeah, also make sure not to become attached to your, let's say you want to be a photographer. Do not get attached to the word photographer. I know that we make things simpler by labeling things, but we gotta stay on course and make sure we're fully-fledged humans. We're not just photographer, we're not just our profession, we are much more than that. And at the core, we will understand who we are. And you get there in different ways. I've explained several ways in the positive sense, or negative ways also to get there, or negative in the sense that health deteriorates. Your health will deteriorate, but you can do it certainly in different ways. All right, it's beautiful here. I'm back here. I'm back at the boats. All right, see, it's pretty cool. So, social media. Instead of being social on media, which isn't social because all it is bullshit, and all these social friends on social media are not your true friends because there is no real connection. There can be connection. I've had some connections, but it's still not the same thing, you know. They'll want things from you. As if, you know, of course, friends want things from you, but it's not the same thing. You need touch. You need gestures. You need to see things together. You need to experience things together. Now, what are you experiencing on Twitter, on a feed? Are you experiencing the same thing? No, you have different feeds even. So I mean, and you share things and you're bombarded with information that is, by the way, usually very incorrect, by the way. There's a lot of myths, a lot of wrong information out there as well. So we gotta learn how to filter information as well. We need to filter information, not just take in all kinds of information. We gotta know our sources. We gotta understand who we're following. We gotta like who we follow also, obviously, but we can have mentors, but having a mentor is not the same thing. It's not the same thing. So, social media. These are 3 ways to quit social media. 3 approaches, 3 mindsets, if you will. 3 ways to think about it. Be aware, see it as a career instead, and socialize, or combine them in some sense. Now, if you have any problems with this, things like this, like if you have troubles with social media, changing your habits, if you want to change undesired habits, you can contact me. The email is down below. You can book a session and we'll discuss your problems. We'll delve deep into each problem psychologically and then physically, and then, you know, and by physically I mean you taking action. And I'll guide you. And I'll guide you through it. We'll make plans and so forth. Specific, organized plans. Targeting each problem. Solving each problem. It's basically problem solving. All of it. Now, the email is down below. And like, share, subscribe, hit the bell button, all of that. Sharing, much better. You can share it in real life. You don't have to share it digitally. Share it in real life. Organic, spreading information organically, like we have done for thousands of years. All right. See you guys from Barcelona.